Hey, Wembug World Entertainment, Monarch Season 2, Episode 4 is here, and a very interesting episode this one is. We're really learning about Apex, what their goal is, how they're trying to execute it, what they're setting up, and parts of it does seem to kind of lean towards how they began and came up with Mechagodzilla. There's like hints to that, being the fact that there's basically mind control of the Titans. Small Titans. I'll get to it. But they are setting that type of stuff up in this. So obviously we're picking up from last week's episode where Titan X is meant to be on the hunt and they're trying to follow it and stuff. And they get a signal saying that Titan X is heading directly for San Francisco. Now, San Francisco obviously had the Titan alert. It's upgraded now to a Titan event. So they're evacuating San Francisco. But Monarch on the ship are doing some weird things, and all of a sudden they're leaving the ship. And, you know, Tim is kind of like, hey, where the hell are you guys going? And they're like, oh, well, you don't even want us on the ship anyway, but we're going to be on the ground because, you know, when the military blow up this thing, we have to clean it up. And the guy's like, the military and the Navy are going to be at the bottom of the ocean. You know, they're not going to be able to fight this thing. And the guy that's from Apex there is like, well, I guess you're going to have to clean us up. And then he does a Star Trek reference. And he says, what's the thing they say in Star Trek? You have the com. And Tim says, the con. It's you have the con. And the guy says, and a con it is. Which is giving you a clue as to Apex here. So, while they're there, Cate has very much a bigger connection than even it seems Keiko had with Titan X, where she senses something in the water because she's still on the beach, or at least kind of beachfront underneath the Golden Gate Bridge, and she ends up walking out into the water. Now, the opening of the episode was showing us Bill going around, that he was on his travels, and we find out by the end of the episode that he was actually tracking Titan X, that he completed the map, so he knew exactly where Titan X traveled to, its migration pattern. So that's what we find out what Bill was doing, and he had everything documented, and when he died, the documents got locked up, I think in the Monarch facility. It didn't quite say, but we see people breaking in and stealing his work, which obviously is Apex, and we see an Apex badge of the people taking his information. So we know now that Apex had his information. And after the credits, we're on the beach. It's actually, the way it opens is what the original teaser trailer for this season was, with the two surfers going out surfing, and the, what were they called again? Scallops or Scarabs, I think they called them. The little creatures coming up out of the beach, and they kill those guys, and Titan X destroys the Navy ship. I think it's a Navy ship. It's either a Navy ship or a Coast Guard ship. There's a ship out there making sure people aren't there. And the two surfers are going surfing because they're like, there's a Titan watch, so there's going to be no one in the waters. And they are down in an island. I can't remember what it's called. It's like Orloff or something like that. It's in an American Samoan place, apparently. So that's where they are, and those guys get killed and stuff. And Titan X destroys that ship. It comes up, and it's tentacle things. We find out it has these big razor claws on it, but it wraps around the ship and just crushes it and pulls it under. So it opens with a bang, that's for sure. But they're trying to execute a plan. Sean stuff are trying to execute a plan to get Horatio, I think is his name. I keep forgetting his name. Keiko's son. His device that can pretty much wake Godzilla. Remember that thing? And so they come up with a plan that May's going to execute to hack into Apex system to get them access, all that type of stuff. And while they're in Apex, they discover Apex has been secretly taking animals off of Skull Island. So they have those vulture bird things on there. They have a new Titan, actually two, that we see. One of them is named, the other one isn't. One of them are these weird bird things, and it's Kentaro who knows what they are. He says they're called needle walkers because they're but like their body is like needles of a hedgehog. They're that type of style. So he names that thing, he says what they are. But there's this other thing which is like, it's a ball of teeth basically with tentacles and stuff, and you know, it's that one wasn't named. But this is where we discover what Apex is up to. That the code May wrote in the first season that she deleted was them trying to use that code to access a system that could basically mind control Titans. This is where I'm getting the feeling that this was the lead up to Mechagodzilla, because they have one of these little bird things, and it's a vicious little fucker, but it's got this little red dot on the back of its neck. And when I think her name is Holland, is the leader of the Apex, she puts in a code and it comes up and it's something like 60 seconds worth of time, and that little red dot goes green and it calms the thing down, and she has it on her arm, she can feed it and stuff, and she's explained to May like, hey, you're either with us or you're against us, you know, this is the thing, we're trying to do real coexistence, but it's this type of thing, you know, we have to learn how to control them and stuff. And May does question it, like, so you want them to be your little pets? And they're like, no, this will be proper coexistence. So while all that's happening, obviously the other guys are in the Apex building. Keiko and Horatio, whatever his name is, the son, they're going down to try and get access to his device, while Kentaro and Shaw are in the kind of security room, keeping an eye on things and trying to communicate to May, okay, you need to open these doors now and stuff like that. And when they do, they're in a rush, by the way, because they've been told they had at the start 23 hours before Titan X makes landfall in San Francisco. We're now down to, I think it was 96 minutes, so just over an hour and a half. So they're rushing because Horatio and stuff think that Cate is still in San Francisco. She's actually on her way back to them in Florida. She's decided, after getting that weird sense of something, you know, when she walks out into the water, and obviously there's a connection there with Titan X. Oh yeah, and one of the things that convinces her, I forgot to say this, is she's walking through the street while San Francisco's getting evacuated, and a woman in her car recognizes her, and she gets out and says, I'm such and so, I can't remember what she said her name is. She goes, I'm Michael's mother, you know, he was on the bus with you that day on the bridge. And she starts to apologize and break down, and the kid comes out of the car. He's one of the only kids she managed to get off the bus and save, and the mother's like, he would never get to be a teenager if it wasn't for you that day getting him off the bus. You could have just as easily run away like a lot of people did that day. And that kind of spurs her on to go back to try and help with taking the Titans down or whatever. So she's actually on her way back. So while they're there, they obviously have to come up with a diversion in the Apex building. They get in. May lets Horatio, and I'm probably butchering his name, and I think it's Hiroshima or something like that. I can never remember what his name is. And Keiko, they get into the room where his device has been taken apart completely, and there's no time to fix it. Lee, Shaw, and Kentaro release the needle walker things. So they go down to cause a distraction, and Kentaro explains, like, these things are territorial, they're not predatory, so they won't attack people, so they'll just cause a great diversion. So they're letting them out, and the first thing they see is this thing of teeth and tentacles just eating everything. And Shaw's like, you don't want to release that thing, do you? And he goes, no, not those ones, these ones. And that's where they release the needle walker yokes that cause a great distraction. By the end, they realize and are told the Titan X coming to San Francisco was all bullshit. Apex Systems ran it out that they were tracking Titan X. They weren't. They had them tracking a whale. So all the military are out there and they can't see Titan X. They're like, there's no visual on the target. And everyone's like, how can there be no visual on the target? Like, they're right over it. And that's when Tim realizes the guys left the ship Apex systems are still running on the ship. Turn that off, and what do we have? And sure enough, they realized Titan X was never there. And this is where we discover that Apex had all of Bill's old messages, all of that stuff, and the map. So they always knew where Titan X was going to be. So we're told Titan X's next destination is Chile, the exact place where Keiko and Shaw saw it for the first time. So I'm going to assume the next episode they'll be traveling there. Cate is obviously back, but May has decided to stay with Holland and Apex. So while she was helping Shaw and stuff and still does want to help them, she also wants to try and help Apex with their plan to basically mind control, thinking that you can mind control these things and be in control of the Titan. So it's going to be very interesting to see where this goes. And the episode actually ends with Keiko's son Horatio, whatever his name is, finding the letter that she wrote to Shaw, the one that said she loved him but she was with Bill and stuff. So he finds that, and that's where the episode actually ends. But another really good episode, you know, and they very much push the story further forward regarding Titan X, Apex's goal, and what exactly they're doing and why they're doing it. And the reason, by the way, they took apart this device is because Apex says they want to create the problem so they can be seen as the ones solving problems. So basically, they want to make it seem like there's threats out there so they can run in and save the day and go, oh, look, we managed to stop Titans. That's what they're basically doing. So it's going to be interesting to see where this goes and see if there's any more indications of Mecha Godzilla and stuff. Still no Godzilla in this episode. I'm starting to wonder, like, how many episodes is Godzilla going to be in, if any, in this. He's in the trailer, so he has to show up at some stage, but it's also interesting that he hasn't come along to fight Titan X yet. And that's what I was actually expecting when the Navy are flying in to San Francisco and they're thinking Titan X is there and we've no actual way of stopping him. I was expecting to see Titan X and Godzilla come up in front of him, but he wasn't there at all. So a good episode, strong episode, more character development, more story development, more importantly, and it's definitely going somewhere and going somewhere quite interesting. So looking forward to the next episode. So with that, I shall leave it there for this one. So do like and share and subscribe and all that good stuff. Cheers, and I'll catch you in the next one.